welcome back to the Full Weight of Joy podcast. Today we have such a privilege. I am so excited to introduce you guys to Elizabeth Carrington, who is a health coach, and she's much more than that. Like, I don't want to we'll dive in. I'll let Elizabeth talk about what she does because it's so unique, which is why I had to have her come on and share with you just some of the amazing things that she's done. You know that I'm all about the holistic approach, that our body keeps score and that our mind, body, spirit, like we get to connect them all for healthy and joyful living. And so I wanted to have Elizabeth on here just to share her story and talk about the amazing, we'll just dive in because I can't wait for her to share what she's been through, what she's been able to do through nutrition and through health and through holistic principles. And so, Elizabeth, thank you so much for coming on here and sharing. Tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, thanks, Tami. Thanks for having me. Well, I have been in the coaching profession for almost 30 years. And I started out as a traditional coaching coach, which is learning a lot of skills in evoking the best of people's wisdom and insight into themselves and understanding their values and their purpose and their, what they're up to in their lives and truing their lives to that compass, if you will, their North Star. And I did that for a long time and really enjoyed that work. And at the same time as I was doing that, I was also struggling in the background in my own life with some health and wellness challenges, including Lyme disease and chronic migraines. And so as I was doing this coaching and as I was figuring out how I was going to live a healthy life, which is a huge part of my purpose here, is health and well-being and living a life of alignment with my higher self, which certainly pain was in the way of that and constant recurring pain. I discovered how to use medical intuition to get to the root cause of the issues that were affecting me. And I had tried everything under the sun. I had been to all the specialists of all the doctors and all the Lyme literate MDs, and I had gone to all the healers and done all the things. I lived in California at the time, so when I say I tried everything, I really
There's everything there.
Yeah. And nothing moved the needle for me until I tuned into this medical intuitive way of understanding what my body was communicating, what it was saying. And so I had to reach outside of my coaching toolbox, if you will, into what I discovered, which is that the migraines were almost exclusively non-physical. They were repressed and old emotions in my body that were stuck in my system. They were old beliefs about my health and my ability to have a pain-free life that were keeping me from having that exact thing. And it was a bit of a spiritual crisis for me, actually, because what I have always been organized around is like going out, making things happen, taking charge, creating a business at 28 years old, which everyone said was impossible because I didn't even know what it meant to do that. And, and leaving my corporate job to do that, which was insane at 28 when I didn't know how to be an entrepreneur. All these things I had prided myself in, overcoming the odds and taking the bull by the horns. And here I was like in constant pain and struggling. And so that was the spiritual crisis. And the mental emotional part was I had to learn how to clear this emotional energy and beliefs out of my body, which, were trapped in my being, which were constantly creating this pain. And I would have never known that if I didn't learn how to tap into my, my unconscious mind and really learn how to do that medical intuition. So that was what was happening in my personal life. And then that dovetailed into my professional life because I was just like, well, I healed these migraines after all this, I learned these new energy practices. I learned how to release trauma from the body. I learned I learned that that was the cause. And I thought, well, shoot, I can do that with my clients. I often work with these women, high achievers like myself that have burned themselves out in some workaholic frenzy, trying to take the bull by the horns and make it all happen. And they're also, by the way, trying to have a child or children and being a wife and also having a life and having any kind of balance, which almost never works when you're an overachiever because you're trying so hard, you lose yourself in your work. And so I thought, wow, how can I help and support women in that way? So I took the traditional coaching, dialogue, curiosity, all the things that I'd learned about in coaching school, and I took that and married it with the medical intuition to understand the root cause of what's happening for people. And then I added it with these energy release skills, these trauma release skills, these belief shifting processes that I'd learned in order to save myself. And that has created what I now call life attunement coaching, which is a unique spin on coaching with a unique twist. Yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot there. So constant pain, because being from the therapy world as well, I know that our thoughts and our body holds on to trauma, and our body holds on to things. And coming from a Christian perspective, like that's there's still our bodies are uh, yeah, they just hold on to things. And so learning to release them, learning to let them go, is that like when you so you did all of the tests and for the migraines, and they basically said like it's there's nothing physically wrong with you. Is that how
Yes,
that journey
and
started?
take these drugs and see if they help you. And they did for a little while, but then they
Okay.
didn't, because
Okay.
of course it's aligned with my work. I wanted to heal myself. I wanted my body. I believe my body is a healing temple and it could heal itself. And if I gave it the right input, I just didn't know the right input. So I was trying all these modalities and then eventually tried the pharmaceuticals, and nothing was shifting the pain. So I guess the message in hindsight is I wanted to learn how to give my body the right input so it could show me that it knew how to heal
Yeah.
it.
Oh, that's amazing. Because I believe that there's so many things that we've kind of lost in this modern medicine of how to heal ourselves, how that food and you know and different things that we can do, exercising and different things can heal our body, which also connects to when our body's not in pain. Because I know so many people. I mean, I could probably list off 20 people right now who I know live in constant pain, and
Mm.
so the fact that this can help with that, like there's when there's no more answers for you, it's like, well, let's look within, let's look to see what our body's holding on to. And it's from my studies, it's knowing that it's keeping you safe, your body,
Mm.
because it understands. It's like, well, I get this. I don't know what a pain-free life is, so I'm going to keep those thoughts that are keeping us in this because I understand how to live in this environment. I don't know how to live in that unsafe and an unpredictable, healthy world. And
Mm.
so we're no pain, pain-free world. And so, can you tell me a little bit about like what is this life attunement? Like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah. Well, I think it's the difference between generalized and personalized, if that makes any
Okay,
sense. So like, and I know that exercise is good for you, and whatever. There's a whole bunch of things that are
drinking
generic.
water, yes, like
Yeah,
getting sleep,
hydrate
yeah.
yourself, right. But so that was good. And the truth is, one of the things about the migraines, now I'm thinking of it, was I was chronically dehydrated, right? Which I didn't
Hmm.
know. So you would think drinking more water would solve for that. But no, generically, I was dehydrated and I should drink water and that would solve. But no, I drank and drank and drank and drank and drank, didn't do anything. Personalized was using the life attunement methodology, getting to the heart of what was going on with me. I needed to use these things called cell salts, which sort of activated my ability of my body to absorb the water that I was drinking so that I could actually hydrate myself. I would never have known that. I would have spent my entire life with all the repercussions of chronic dehydration, which were mounting in my system. I won't tell you all the gory details, but like my body was not getting the hydration it needed. And so as soon as I started this protocol of the cell salts and then drinking the water, it changed everything for me. Everything changed. My skin, my hair, all the details that I won't tell you about down below. So it was a big needle mover. So the life attunement is there's generic versus the personalized way, and life attunement is the personalized way. So if you're in chronic pain, which comes from inflammation, knowing the personalized way that your body is being inflamed and what's causing that inflammation so you can stop it is a shortcut to getting out of the chronic pain. And that's the difference between the life attunement work I do and then general health advice, which is useful to an extent. But
Sure.
if you're in chronic pain, you need probably something more personalized for you, you know?
Okay. So how, like, give us like a high overview of how, because if like you come in pain and you're like, I have migraines, like what do you do to narrow to figure out what the personalized protocol will be? Like what are some of those tools or what how do you do that?
Yeah. So, what you have to do is you have to develop a skill called tapping into the unconscious mind. Your unconscious mind is your odometer of your whole life. Everything that's happened to you, every feeling you've had, every difficult moment, everything that you haven't let go of that you still flash back on now as a regret or a resentment or whatever. It's all logged
Yeah.
into your subconscious mind. So what I do is I tap into that and literally ask your subconscious mind, what is creating the dehydration in your system? And then, keep asking to get the answers to the root cause of your dehydration. It's
Yeah.
really it's a developable skill. I use body intuition. So when I'm in the presence of you, my body will lean forward when I'm asking the question, or I use a pendulum to tap into it. There are lots of different ways to use different tools, right? But the truth is, like in a petri dish in a lab, if you put a cell in there and you put a dot of poison, the cell will move away from it.
Right.
And if you put a little carrot, a little grade of carrot in, the cell will move toward the healthy, nourishing thing for it. So
Yeah.
literally at a cellular level, our body moves toward and away from the thing.
Yes.
And I know how to tap into your movement of toward and away from something, then I can take a whole list of things which create dehydration, and I can look at the list and I can say, what is it for Tami that's creating the dehydration? Oh, wow, it's an imbalance in your electrolytes that's creating the dehydration or whatever. There's a million things that create
Sure.
that. And then my body or the pendulum, will say, yes, that's the thing for you. Okay, now what do you need to do about it? And then we test to see what you need to do about it. It's a very methodical, it sounds a little woo-woo, we're testing your unconscious mind, but it's very practical and methodical because in the
Okay.
process of testing and getting to the root cause and also the solution that your body is a yes to, your subconscious mind is like, yes, I need you to do this, you walk away with a map of how to
Mhm.
solve for that particular challenge that you're coming with. I mean, it can be anything,
Sure.
hormonal, right, whatever.
Well, and that's so interesting because it's in the science of it, like the neuroscience too. I like we're constantly our whole bodies, our brains, our beings are constantly running away from pain and running to pleasure. The only thing is that trying to run away from pain is typically outruns, I guess it's stronger than our need for pleasure because sometimes we just want to, get back to zero. And so this whole idea of like tapping into the subconscious, like this is also where, because we all have access to that when you learn to do it. And so from my perspective, I come from like what you focus on grows. So when you start, like thinking about what you're thinking about, and so you're kind of talking about that same thing, which I love when science does this. Like, it's like, no, there's multiple ways to skin a cat. There's multiple ways to get to the answers, but they're all locked in the same places. Let's just figure out how to get there. Because
Mm,
I do believe, like, we are programmed to believe someone else has the answers, which I think
mm,
causes a lot of the problems. And so when
mm,
we really start listening to ourselves and like, okay, what do we need in this moment? Because you're right, that dehydration. Well, science says drink water. But then you look further into science, and then you look at like runners. As soon as you said that, like I have a lot of friends who run marathons, and they know they have their salt packets, they have those
mhm,
electrolytes with them. So that's an intuitive thing for them. They know when they start feeling thirsty that they
yeah.
actually need salt, which is, it may seem counterintuitive, but it's what your body needs. And so I love this so much that just slowing down enough to ask yourself, what does your body need? And
Mhm.
so if you can share a little bit more, I know that we talked, I mean, we talked before this about like all the different areas, and so a lot of the women who are listening, the chronic migraines is
Mm,
definitely, I'm sure that piqued their interest. But
mm,
also, like, we're going through like perimenopause, and I'm telling you what, I didn't even know this was a thing until about 3 or 4 years ago when I started. Because I don't believe, and I asked women who are older as well who've been through menopause and everything, and I'm like, is this new? And they're like, no, we just didn't talk about it. So now we're
mm.
talking, we're understanding this, because our body's changing so much. So could you tell us a little bit about how can we use something like this to help us with the perimenopause? Because we know it's normal, but we
Yeah.
also don't want the all the side effects that we're experiencing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I started, of course, experimenting on myself as well, and because I've now gone through it fully, and almost completely asymptomatic. As soon as something started where I noticed, oh, I'm not sleeping as well, I muscle tested now I use a lot of herbs and whatever. I use a lot of natural, if I can, I use natural substances. And if the body
Okay,
needs something else, I'm not opposed to people using pharmaceuticals if
sure.
that will help, if that's in their subconscious
Best
mind, I
interest.
have
Yes.
choice, right? But almost always people choose the natural route instinctively because why not let your body heal itself, right? So I put together an herbal concoction right away for sleep. For me, it would be useless for you or anyone else because it's what my body needed, right? In order to move through that sleep cycle. I also then, there was one other thing that happened that was so funny. Oh, I started to get these hot flashes. It was just like a year ago. I started to get hot flashes, and I'm 55, and I have almost completely finished. And I was like, wow, I didn't have any hot flashes all the way through. Isn't that weird? I guess I get them now. And as I was testing my body just to see what do I need for support, the funny thing was that the cause was not coming from hormonal imbalance. It was because I had been monitoring it all the way through. It was coming from I had gotten a parasite somehow. I had been in like some hot tub somewhere and I tested, did it come from, whatever, barefoot, whatever, walking around. Anyway, my body got the parasite. So I cleared the parasite with herbs again. And within like 3 days of just starting the 2-week protocol of clearing, the hot flashes went away forever. I haven't had one since.
Huh,
So I could have assumed, again, generic
right?
versus personalized, right? So
Yes.
all that to say is with peri and menopause and postmenopause come a lot of different challenges, including
Right.
sleep and migraines and weight and dryness and right. So those are some of the
Yes.
top ones. But all of those things come with your own recipe or solution to them to help you mitigate them. Um, and it's not like, if I do a session with you and I give you the map, it's not like you don't have to do anything. I'm not solving it for you. I'm just showing you here are the causes and here's what you need to do. Then you may
Right.
need to go and do some kind of a protocol or get some binaural beats or get onto a hypnotherapy program, or you may need to do some energy release processes on some trapped childhood grief in your body to stop the migraine pain. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Mhm.
not just quick fix. I mean, when we're
Right.
solving for something that's happening in our body, it's not just a magic wand solution. So I do a session with somebody, and then they have 6 weeks of something they have to do on top of
Yes.
it. To what I mean? It's like therapy, right? You don't come to therapy and tell them your problem, and they
No.
go, "Oh, good, I talked to my therapist. I'm all done." It's like sometimes
I'm
it takes,
cured.
yeah, woo, my baby, it's great, I'm happy again. Um, so it's a journey. All I can say is A, I can shortcut it for a lot of people, and then
Right.
B, if people are interested in learning how to be in touch in a way where they can start to read their own body cues or learn
Mhm.
how to lean in or use a pendulum or whatever to check in with their own subconscious, that is wonderful. And not all of my clients are interested in that. They just want to come and know what to do and go do it. And that's fine too. I'm good with either way. But some people are geeky and weird like me, and they're like, I want to understand how to connect to my,
Yes.
and those are fun people to work with because they want to, it takes a process. It's not like I learned to test my own body overnight. It took me months to trust my own testing, months and months, maybe even over a year before I really was confident and solid. Oh, I'm reading this one right, because my own emotions get in the way, and it's hard to like
For
really be careful when
sure.
it comes to yourself, right? But for other
Yeah,
people, it's easy because I don't have any investment. I just want them to have their answers.
sure.
Yeah.
What is something that anyone can do? Like if they wanted to start this process, start to see like and give that a like what could they do on their own? What could they do on, in the moment, like as they're listening, that helps them like one step clearer and like pull, because I know there's a lot of skepticism. There's a lot of even those limiting beliefs of, well, it worked for her, it won't work for me. There's so many times we believe that, and sometimes we need to show our brains that, like, hey, we can do something right now in
Yeah.
order to take a step forward. So what is
Yeah.
something that my like these amazing people who are on this listening to this podcast and thinking, okay, this sounds amazing. What can I do?
Yeah.
What is
Okay.
possible right
Here's a good one. So have a friend or your partner or whomever um, blindfold you and just stand in your kitchen or wherever, and then have like 3 or 4 different things on the counter near you. Um, have something poisonous like
now? Okay.
bleach.
Bleach.
Have
Okay.
something that you love, like an apple or a banana or whatever, something healthy and is healthy, not candy, but healthy. Um, Maybe have something that your body doesn't like gluten or soy or milk, or I don't know, something that
Okay.
for you is a no-no, right? Or a candy bar, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Uh, and then so have them blindfold you and just stand there, take a couple of breaths, ground yourself, and have them tell you that they're gonna bring something into your field, into your about 6-8 inches in front of your chest, um, and then just let your body respond to it, and then have them take it away and just notice what you notice, and then have them bring something else in and notice what you notice. Now you may just nothing may happen the first time. Almost 95% of something will happen, but let's say it doesn't. Okay, great. So reset, take a breath, turn around, feel yourself again, and have them do it again. And what you will start to notice, this is the growth of your own instincts, trusting your own instincts, is that your body you will feel either a movement toward a way or maybe a neutral, but you will feel something in your body. And I did this with my engineering brother, who's a total skeptic, who thinks this is totally woo-woo. And I literally put gluten in front of him, which he's highly allergic to, and his whole 200+ pound body like almost flew back. I mean, it was like, poof, he was like,
Okay.
what did you just do to me? And he doesn't believe any of this, but his body non-verbally, through his own instinctual knowing, knew, get me away from this poison. For him, somebody else,
Okay.
their body might move toward it, but for him, he knows he's allergic to it. So his body was like, oh, blindfolded the whole time, didn't know what was going on. All I said is, I'm going to put something near you. Let's see what happens. So that's the most fun experiment I can think of to let people know. I go in to get a bottle of wine, for dinner when I'm having company, and I'll literally hold the bottle in front of me like, oh, is my body aligned? I mean, I use this for absolutely everything. I've developed it over time to trust it, but like, what are you aligned with? Which thing is the right thing for you when you go to get something at the grocery store, whatever. So that's the fun thing I would invite people to play with.
So do you have to be able to smell it? Like, does it have to have a smell, or
Nope.
no, your body just
Nope.
instinctively? So like,
It's
even
better
like you
if
said,
you don't have a smell, because then you would say, oh, I smelled it and I like bananas.
right,
Yeah.
right. That's what I was wondering. I was like, well, if you put bleach in front of me, of course I'm gonna be like
Nope.
back up. But okay, so it's
Nope.
like a
Leave it
closed bottle.
tight.
Keep
Yep.
okay. So that's a good um yeah. So even like the bottle of wine, you said it's not opened, because I was like
That's right.
that. Okay, just something in front of you, 68, but it doesn't need to be opened. It doesn't need to be, you don't need to touch it or anything, and let your
Nope.
body just feel like, okay, I'm gonna try that for sure, because
Yeah.
I,
Yeah,
I,
totally.
I think I'm gonna do it with my
Try it.
kids too. It'll be
Yeah.
fun, just for them
It'll
to
be
see.
easier with them because they have less of a block. You know what I mean? They'll be like,
Right.
"Oh, look at this, mom! Look at, oh my
Yes.
God, yeah,
Yeah, for sure. That's so good.
yeah,
Thank you so much for sharing because I know that this journey is because there's so much information out there and it's so hard to know what to trust, what to believe, what to try. And so something as simple as just putting it in front of your body and like testing and without the without that visual because your eyes are the first sense connected to your brain. So when you remove that, you actually open up all of your senses. That's why, it's interesting how that happens. There's so many things that come with that, but we won't get into that. But it's the idea you remove that one sense and the other ones come
oh
forward.
God, mm-hmm.
And knowing that this intuition, like we don't that when your body is telling you that that's not going to work, something, like just, and there's not a magic pill. And so, I mean, that's what our society, that's what our big pharma has said is just go find a pill for it, find a quick fix. But people are really starting to wake up to the fact that these quick fixes are actually breaking a million other things. And
Mm-hmm.
so finding resources and finding things that we know is beneficial and works. And I love this personalized versus generalized because you and I are not the same and we don't have the same body chemistry, and so it's great to know that there are things out there that can help us as simple as this. And it just help. And then just your story of, that we didn't even go into that Lyme disease because I have a couple of friends in the past. Like I was thinking, I was like, I don't even know if I'm Facebook friends with them. Otherwise, I would put them in touch with you because I know that they're suffering from Lyme disease. Just and that's one thing I worry about because my daughter is like a tick magnet,
Mm-hmm.
and so I have like she takes a little tablet that's like a natural supplement that's supposed to like give us time if she does get a tick on her, like to get it off in any way.
Mm-hmm.
Because she does, I mean, I'm in the middle of a lake. She got a tick on
No.
her. We're like, how is that possible? It's water. Um, but thank you so much for sharing with us. If anyone's interested in like finding out more about your work, where would they find you?
Just go to my website, elizabeth-carrington.com, Carrington.
Awesome. And is there anything else that you'd like to leave, like a party note or something, words of wisdom that you would like to leave with all these amazing people?
Just what you brought up was Lyme. I just have a particular place in my heart for Lymeys, because I lived with that for so long. And then my son was born with it, and that journey to heal
Wow.
him and his father and me all through completely separate protocols, because as you said, our bodies were different. But, the doctor said, we'll never, I had it for like 15 years. They said, you'll never, like this isn't going to get better. You'll be intermittently on antibiotics the rest of your life and whatever. And I just want to say that that's not true. I'm totally, completely healed and recovered. So is my son. So is my former
Wow.
husband, and we're all fine and good today. And that is a big victory. And I just want to say, if you have Lyme and you're struggling, that's an area of specialty that I've developed because I have such compassion for that journey. It's really debilitating and can be mess with your life in a big, way. So I want people to have their life back and their life force energy and their, vitality again.
Yes. And just yeah, life and health and like the pain free. So thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate it. I hope that everyone reaches out and with any questions, I know that you are so quick to answer and to offer help and support. So I appreciate that so much. And I just want to say thank you again for being on the podcast. And yeah, I just can't wait to see you and talk to you more. So thank you so much. I hope you have a
Thanks,
wonderful
Tami.
day.